India has inaugurated its new parliament today. Traditional Indian holy ceremonies of Hawan and Pooja are being conducted or have been conducted to ensure successful and smooth functioning. This is live at the new parliament building in New Delhi, and the rituals are still going on. The scepter, the Sengol, has already been placed besides the speaker's seat, and the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, is already there, and he has opened officially the new parliament building from the old one. And we'll be talking more about this and the significance of this new parliament building to India and also to the world. This is a complete transition indeed for India, and we'll be talking about why this event is important for the country and why the controversies surrounding the new parliament building in India. Let's just listen in for a little while and then we'll start discussing this.
지라도야 구성도 개된 대나 사당 추나 맨날 롱에 네 맞지 대마르조 대마르진의 생계도 받으면 엄수바디다 맨자리에 소하 예달 많이 해도 봐 해든데 kend나가도 해와대대 견도인으로 나와요 뭐디 마샤마나 예소 에지데네 메조 제바메 되면 제와 마르 종데 ngmedo ajoba namanye sangye 제바 메라 자자로 지대야 베여가 던제도
These are various religions who have gathered at the new parliament building. They are still conducting the rituals, as you can see there. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in attendance, and he has already inaugurated the new parliament building. He has placed the scepter, what is called the Sengol, besides the speaker's seat. And the significance of the Sengol is to mark a transition from the British rule to the new India. And that's why it's significant for the person who inaugurates the new parliament building to place or to hold the Sengol and place it next to the speaker's seat. Our principal diplomatic correspondent, Sidhant Sibol, is following up on this latest event in India and is joining us live from New Delhi. Sidhant Sibol, good to see you. Probably we can start with the significance of this new building.
Well, Eric, it is a momentous day. I'm standing just in front of the new parliament building that was constructed in past few years. It's just opposite the old parliament building. It's triangular in shape and, of course, has a larger seating capacity. Now, the rationale and the reason of building a new parliament is that the old parliament, built in the last century by the British when India was colonized, does not have the infrastructure or is getting dilapidated as it grows old in terms of the infrastructure. So that was the reason that the new parliament was built. Now, we know that the inauguration ceremony has started. We know that rituals are taking place and the Indian Prime Minister is present when it comes to the inauguration. We will hear the top political leadership, including the Indian Prime Minister, addressing the inauguration ceremony. But in terms of its significance, it is symbolic of the aspirations of a new India, an India which, of course, is playing an important and dynamic role in terms of global order. India today is the most populated country. India today is the 5th largest economy. Unlike when the old parliament was built in the last century by the British, when India was colonized by the British and of course ravaged by them. So essentially today is an important day. There is a fair bit of controversy as well, including of course the opposition boycotting it, primarily saying that the Indian president should have inaugurated it, given that she, of course, is the ceremonial head of the Indian Republic. So that controversy aside, there is, of course, focus today on the celebration regarding the inauguration of the Indian Parliament and how it is symbolic of the aspiration of India, which, of course, is naturally expected because of its size and its economy to play an important and leading role. We saw that this month how during the Indian Prime Minister's visit to Japan, Papua New Guinea and of course Australia, he got a rousing welcome. He met with global leaders, but it's the G7, where of course not only he met the G7 leaders but also Ukrainian President Zelensky. In Papua New Guinea, we saw the Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea touching the feet of the Indian Prime Minister in a gesture that of course became a viral gesture and something that was lauded, especially here in India. And then in Australia, of course, 20,000 Indians welcoming the Indian Prime Minister at the diaspora event. And we will see more such diplomatic engagement and, of course, how India is seen at the world stage as the Indian Prime Minister travels to Washington and Paris in next few weeks.
All right, that is our principal diplomatic correspondent, Sidhan Sibol. Sidhan Sibol, stay with us because I'll come to you later and talk more about this new building. Let's just talk about the history of the old building because it is very important to mention to people who do not understand why this new parliament building is important and significant. Having mentioned that this old parliament, there is a current old parliament in place, and the design of the current parliament was designed by British architects. They were called Sir Edwin Lutyens and Herbert Baker. The current parliament building's construction took 6 years. It was originally called the Council House and housed the Imperial Legislative Council, the legislature of British India. Now, if you come to the new parliament building and its purpose, the part of the Central Vista redevelopment project, the newly built parliament complex is designed to incorporate latest technology, sustainability, modern day amenities and purpose-designed spaces to ensure greater efficiency in its seamless operations. Now, the project website also stated that as the old parliament showed signs of distress and overutilization with time, the new one has been built ensuring it has efficient space utilization, secure infrastructure, latest communications technology, and structural safety of the building, and to meet the demand for work spaces. In studio, I have with me a senior journalist. Her name is Aditi Fadnes, and she'll be talking about the new parliament building and its significance to India and also the world. Aditi Fadnes, thank you very much for joining us on World is One and in studio. It's good to see you. Probably you can start by telling us the significance of this new parliament building. We are moving from the old to the new. What's the significance of that for India?
Well, it's significant at many levels. One, many have been asking why it is relevant to have a new parliament building when the old one is perfectly functional.
Right.
The fact is that the old one was built more than 7 decades ago, and it had begun showing its age, actually long before it had begun showing its age. It was built with a certain profile of India in mind.
Okay.
India's profile, both internally in India and in the world, has changed. So you needed a new symbol or a new edifice that would represent a rising India. And this is what the new parliament does represent.
But why has it taken so long, you know, over 7 decades to build a new parliament in India?
Well, I think this government thought of it. It was thought about even earlier, but nobody actually got round to doing it. It was felt that the old parliament was perfectly sufficient to meet India's needs, but the felt needs will now actually be represented, will now be reflected in the way the new parliament will function. Okay. So things that we did not know we needed, we will now realize when the new building starts working.